All right, in this lesson we will focus on multiplying some different monomials and binomials and then simplifying them as well. And so this first term, we just have a monomial, which means we have one term in front. This 2x cubed is one term. So I'm taking this monomial and multiplying it by a trinomial, 1, 2, 3 terms, and seeing what happens. So basically you're just distributing. That's all you are doing when you do this. So I'm going to take 2x cubed and I will multiply it first of all by 7x squared. So I'll multiply the coefficients in front, which gives me 14. And then since I have two bases of an x, I have an x cubed and an x squared, I would go ahead and add those two exponents and make that be x to the 5th. And then 2x times negative 3x, again, multiply your coefficients to get negative 6. Add your exponents. Make sure you remember that there's a 1 right here. Super common mistake that since it's not written, people forget about it. But it is there, and that makes an x to the 4th power. And then 2x cubed times 5 would just make 10x cubed. And I don't have anything now with the same exponents that I can combine, and so I just leave my answer like I see it. Here I've got two binomials that I'm multiplying. You might remember that some teachers call this FOIL. I like to just not worry about FOIL. I like to just distribute so that that same rule can apply when we've got trinomials and other terms that we're working with. Okay, so I'm going to take this 3x and distribute it through that parentheses first. So 3x times 5x would give me 15x squared. And then 3x times 4 would give me 12x. Okay, so I've distributed the 3x through the back parentheses. Now I'm going to take the 2 and distribute it through the back parentheses. So 2 times 5x would be 10x, and a positive 2 times a positive 4 would give me 8. And now you can see that I have some like terms that I can combine. These two things are both an x, so I will be able to combine them. When you give your answer, you want to list them in descending order, which means the biggest exponent first. So I will list this 15x squared term first, since it has the biggest exponent. And then I will combine my 12x and my 10x to have 22x. And then, of course, my plus 8 that's at the end. And that is all I can do for that problem. And then here we have a trinomial because we have 3 terms in it, multiplied by a binomial because we have 2 terms in it. And so on this particular one, I will take the x squared and I will distribute it to the back parentheses. So x squared times x would be x cubed because there's this 1 up here. Don't forget about that. So you have to add it. And then x squared times 4 would be 4x squared. And then you take the 6x and you distribute it through. So 6x times 1x would be 6x squared. Again, there's a 1 up there. And then 6x times 4 would be 24x. And then lastly, I will take the negative 2 and distribute it through. So negative 2 times x is negative 2x, and negative 2 times 4 is negative 8. Okay, now when I combine my like terms, I have an x cubed term. I have a 4x squared and a 6x squared, which gives me 10x squared. And I have a 24x and a negative 2x, which gives me 22x, and then minus 8. Okay. And then the next one. Here you're going to, first of all, have to simplify this piece first. So you'll do that by distributing those. So here we go. We have x times x, which is x squared, and x times negative 5, which is negative 5x, and negative 2 times x is negative 2x, and negative 2 times negative 5 would be negative 10. Okay, if I simplify that, I can combine these two middle terms so that I have x squared minus 7x minus 10. That's that piece. Okay, then I need to take this negative 3x and distribute it through. So negative 3x times x would be negative 3x squared. and negative 3x times 6 would be negative 18x. And now again, you need to combine your like terms, and you're going to start with the biggest exponent, which in this case would be my x squared term. So I have 1x squared and negative 3x squared, so that's negative 2x squared. And then my x term would be negative 7x and negative 18x to make negative 25x. And then you have this negative 10. Okay. And one last one, and people make a real common mistake here that I'll show you in a minute. But here we go. We have 8x times x, which would be 8x squared, and 8x times 1 is 8x, okay? Now, I'm going to ignore this minus sign for right now, but I know that I'm going to need to subtract the whole quantity of what I get when I simplify this, okay? So I will take x times x, which is x squared, and x times 6, which is 6x, and then 3 times x is 3x, and 3 times 6 is 18, okay? And I am subtracting that whole quantity. So here's where I'm at right now. I have 8x squared plus 8x minus, I'm going to simplify what's in here. And so I have x squared, and then I can combine my 6x and my 3x to make 9x and 18. Okay, then remember that you have this sort of imaginary 1 right here, and you're going to take this negative 1 and you're going to distribute it through this parentheses, which basically changes the signs on anything in that parentheses. So if it's positive, it becomes negative, and vice versa. So now here's where I'm at. Okay, and now I get to combine my like terms. So if I have an 8x squared and a negative 1x squared, that gives me 7x squared. And I have an 8x and a negative 9x, which gives me negative x. And then I have this negative 18 that I haven't dealt with. Okay, and that should be your problems.